when we're running an external mic like this into, say, the Blackmagic. What we can do is, because it's allows for separating the channels, what we can do is put it up here like I did here. I put the settings to run it at 100% on one channel and then 50% gain on the other channel, and that allows me to adjust it in post. Should anything go and start to clip, I can just pull from the other channel, especially if we're in a dynamic environment. We're not in a controlled environment where we have to specifically adjust for moving forward or people screaming and things like that. This is kind of the safe way of doing it. Now we have this. So this is the Zoom F2, which is 32-bit recording and 48 kilohertz. So it actually takes a lot of that guesswork out, as long as the microphone itself can handle a certain amount of decibels coming in. And I think this one handles 116 decibels, so it covers a pretty good range of, I think what a jet engine is 120 or something like that. So it'll cover quite a bit without having to clip. So if the microphone itself is not capable of handling, let's say it was 80 decibels, and I started screaming, regardless of whether or not this is 32-bit recording, the microphone will clip at whatever capability it has. And in this particular case, I think it's 116 or something like that. And right now you're probably hearing a little bit of wind, and I wanted to purposely put that into play so that you can hear the wind effect. It's windy today, and I wanted you to be able to hear that on the microphone. And what I'll do also right now is I'll just apply some very simple high-pass filter to it, so you'll be able to hear that difference. And what I'm also going to do is, you notice that there's the clicking and so forth. There is no clicking. I don't know what versions the other people that I've seen reviews do, but they had clicking and things like that. This does not. This has been working rock solid with all of the training that we've done, people grabbing me and slamming and pulling on the cable and everything else, and there was no clicking, no difference in that, and it hung in there pretty nice. The thing that I do like, and by the way, this is the standard non-Bluetooth version. And that's really important because I didn't want to get the Bluetooth version because everybody was getting the Bluetooth version. And it didn't seem to me to make any sense why everybody's doing that. There is convenience having your phone, and you can pull that out and just use an app to set that. But what I do is I just go onto the computer, plug it into my Mac, uses a standard USB-C, and you run the app and then just click set to computer time, whatever that happens to be. There wasn't any problem doing that. That's not hard. And then it does, what, 1 frame or something a loss in 24 hours? So you're pretty solid. You're pretty good when you've got that in there. And again, I enjoy the actual quality of the audio for my voice. It works really, really well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck this underneath, and I'm going to use a bit of silicone tape to strap it, because I do happen to have some hair on the chest, and I don't like that being ripped off because I've tried other tape before, and that was always a painful bearing experience whenever I would have to do that. So right now we're running the Blackmagic camera at the same time as we're running the iPhone, and everything's going to be recorded on the Zoom. So I'm going to put that into DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to show you how that does a really excellent job of just assembling everything nicely. You don't have to use another program. You could use Pluralize, which is a great program. It does a really good job as well, and just export it as a Premiere project, and that can be imported directly into DaVinci from a Premiere timeline project. But all of these can be just imported right into, including iPhone footage, Blackmagic raw footage, and with the 32-bit recording, and just basically append it to the timeline, and I'll show you how that's done later. But this is my silicone tape, which I'm going to be trying out for the first time today. I should be able to use that and pull that off repeatedly without ripping the fur off my body. All right, so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because this has a headphone monitoring as well, so having this on my chest, taped to my chest, there's still some noise because of the actual head rubbing against the shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to tape the microphone to the shirt instead of my chest. Okay. Wow. I had this turned up a little too loud for my clap. So always be careful of doing that. So there is less noise now, and basically what I'm doing is using my shirt as a wind buffer, basically. So I took off the little foam head because that's what was causing the rubbing, and it seems to be doing a pretty good job here. And yeah, so now this is taped to the shirt. And there are different places that I could put it. I could put it lower or a little bit higher, and but I think this is actually pretty good. So we're going to keep it on here. I mean, this is a great buy for those of you who are considering it, and you don't mind having your computer, you know, before the day starts, before the day shooting, going onto the computer, putting in your USB-C, hitting the use computer time, and it works really well for time code. That's if you're using the time code. Otherwise, it just records the audio, and then in DaVinci Resolve, it uses the audio waveform for matching up to the other sound sources and accurately putting them into play, aligning them, and it does a really good job. So we're going to, as I said before, we're going to put that into play. Like I said also, this produces a really good sound for my voice. Very little post work I have to do. I've had other things that I've had to record from iPhone, the Blackmagic, I've had the Zoom H6, I've had the H4, I've had the boom, overhead booms. Everything else doesn't quite produce the same type of sound right off the bat that I like for the quality of my voice to come through as I feel it is heard by those present. And this does a really good job. So it captures the baritone or the bass and also the highs. It works really well. It captures enough of a range that I can just play it up and down. It doesn't matter if I talk really quietly or if I'm screaming or whatever else. I can always bring that down, and that really, so right now I'm doing more of a booming voice, and you'll see that I'll be able to bring that down pretty easily because of the 32-bit recording. So the other thing that I really enjoy on this, because of the heavy type of training we do and the recording I need for that, is this clip is a massive clip. This thing is really a beast. This sticks to clothing pretty easily. In all of our rough housing and the fight training and so forth, this has not come off my clothing at all. So that was always something that was really nice to encounter. So as a field recorder, this holds up. The one thing I do have a problem with it, simply because this coming up here, I would prefer to have it coming off the side. And I'm sure I can get a little adapter and put that in there, just because of how, when I train and when I fight with individuals, that when we're grappling and everything else, this tends to get a little bit caught against my body, and it just feels, it's just more of a feel thing. It's not structurally impairing anything. If it was on the side, I wouldn't feel that as much because it would go right along the waistband of the pants. But other than that, that's my only complaint that I've got so far on this. And again, the audio quality is great. You can always monitor how the sound is coming in, so that if you've got the microphone put on somebody, you can check to make sure that it's not causing problems. And the really cool part about this is it doesn't matter how far away. I mean, we can do a telescopic lens, and we can do this from however far away. And because this is just on your body recording it, 32-bit audio, it also has this nice little lock, which does come into play. So right now it is recording my voice. And when I switch it to hold like this, that means it doesn't matter what I do to the buttons, it turns off the ability to accidentally turn the thing off. That also came in handy a lot when we were training heavily, so that because people bumping into me and grabbing and so forth, it was not at all affected. And that's really, it was a great feature, and they really did well with that. I really love this thing. It's going to be my workhorse from now on, and it's been the workhorse for about, 2 weeks or something like that. We've been using it heavily, extensively on all of our training videos. And I'm going to continue using this, especially on some short films that we have coming up. It's a nice little body. It feels pretty solid in the hand. It's got a metal frame up here on top, which is really nice. This locks in. That's also really nice. It's not going to pull out. There is a cheaper plastic cover for the batteries. Right now, I've been running this probably, like I said, well, since I got it, almost 2 weeks, and I haven't changed the batteries yet, and the battery is still showing green. So, and they're not rechargeable batteries. So I'm going to run this until the end and see just how long it can do it before I put in rechargeable batteries. First thing to do is to drag and drop all of your video and audio files for the project into the media page in DaVinci Resolve. You can alternatively use the menus to import them. Once imported, select all the files and right-click on them to bring up the menu. Go to the AutoSync Audio, and then to Based on Waveform and Append Tracks. If you have timecode on all your files, you could use that as well. DaVinci will process the files that match. Any files that did not have a matching audio file will be listed for you. Click on OK. You can use the Cut page for editing, but I prefer the Edit page. In the Edit page, you simply select a file and drag it and drop it into the timeline. This is where you will see the audio file appended to the original video file, and both files will be matched according to their waveforms. Mute the original audio so you can make accurate adjustments to the imported audio. You can drag and drop the audio to the level you wish, or right-click on the audio and use Normalize Audio. If you wish a quick method for adjusting volume with compression, simply go to the Fairlight page. Go to A2 and double-click on the Dynamics box. A2 is designated for the second audio track. Double-clicking in the Dynamics box will bring up the compressor. Adjust your threshold and ratios to your liking. Why you would do them a certain way is beyond the scope of this tutorial. If you want more information on that, please let me know in the comments. I prefer to reduce the attack, hold, and release knobs to their lowest settings, so they activate as quickly as possible. I also turn on the limiter to -0.1, so no accidental clipping will occur on output. Then you simply raise the makeup gain, so the voice output hits about -10. This gives you plenty of room for adding music or other effects, and keeps a consistent export for spoken word for the likes of YouTube and Vimeo. If you like this, please thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you.